This is Rich Campfield, and this is it's February 2001, during the pandemic and everything. And this is a practice at home video on how to practice the cracks with the new Wonderbar tools. Okay, now the new Wonderbar tools, they work better than our other ones, and as you'll see once you get used to using them. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a crack here. I'm going to take the glass cutter and I'm going to press down and make about a 1-inch slit, and then I'm going to take my fingers and run the crack along. And sometimes this can be hard to do, and what we do in that case is we take our crack opener. I use spray away on my crack openers when I'm doing vehicles, because they're being mounted on the inside of the car, and spray away is a lot easier to get off when you clean the inside of the windshield than if you use Vaseline. Cut. I'm spreading the crack along here. Now in the real world, when you fix an edge crack, you're going to use either our 1600 CPS resin at the edge and our 400 at the point. While you're practicing at home, you're practicing just to get your moves down, you're going to use 45 in the point and 90 at the edge. So now let's see if we can spread this crack out a little more. Let's see how long we have to make sure it is over 6 inches, because 6 inches is a dirty word in this industry. So I believe we have about 8 inches here. I'm putting spray away on the suction cup, and I'm going to place it right here by the point. Just bring the bolt to the glass. Just touch the glass with it for now. Now when you're doing a windshield in the real world, the advantages of using 400 in the drill hole into the bullseye and down the crack is it'll speed up your repair. And 400 is a 152% the strength of new glass. So it's 52% stronger than new glass. So that's why you want to get 400 in this part of the crack. And our 16 is around 150% the strength of new glass. So that's why we recommend you use those resins in your crack repairs. And that's why I always set up 2 crack openers to keep the crack open. The other thing the crack opener does is prevents you from pushing down on the crack with your tool, with your long crack slider, because if you put too much pressure on there, then you can close the crack. And if you push the crack closed, then you could cause some spotting. Now we're going to drill a hole in front of the crack. Go about 1/8 of an inch in front. Always hold the drill with 2 hands, and in one hand hold it like a pencil, so you can rest your palm on the glass, and that will hold it steady. Now we're going to tap a bullseye. Tapping a bullseye is an easy process, basically. This is a size 10 carpet needle. This is a piece of electrical tape to use for a handle. We usually put that out about 2 millimeters. This glass is 2 millimeters thick. And one of the best things to use to tap a bullseye is a teaspoon. There we go. And you can see we got a nice, perfect, round bullseye. Okay, so now we're going to set up at the point. Now, on the tool, you see we have these leveling stabilizer bolts on the back. This is to keep the tool from tilting and rocking while you're sliding it. And the level that you put this is adjustable. You can turn these and adjustable. You want to keep it low when you're doing it for a crack, because if you have them high, then your suction cup is not going to stay flat and you're putting more pressure downward on the crack. Then your third bolt, oh, here it is, pressure bolt. This is the bolt that you use for temporary pressure to get the 400 into the drill hole and bullseye. Okay, so these are leveling and stabilizing, and this is a pressure bolt. So when you mount it, you want this pressure bolt back, and you want your injector flush with the bottom of the Wonderbar, with your resin touching the bottom of the O-ring so it doesn't spill when you get out. Now, since you're going to be sliding, you want to use a liberal amount of Vaseline, petroleum jelly, on the suction cup. Now, you don't want to be mounting right here, because then you'll leave all of your lubricant behind you. So you want to set up it around the middle of the crack, push your suction cup flat, and then slide it back and forth so that you lubricate your path that you're going to be sliding. Okay, then you go over here and you bring your injector down to the glass. Now remember, the back bolts are going to keep you level, so you just bring that down. Now you're on the glass and you're level. Put this onto a slight vacuum and slide onto the drill hole. Okay, now you're on the drill hole. And now we want to take the pressure bolt, bring this to the glass, and rise this up a little bit, which is going to put more pressure onto the resin going into here. And you turn that a little bit too, and you'll feel this increase in pressure. And so now that you're level and you feel pressure, you pull a vacuum. It only takes a few seconds to pull a vacuum. And then when you bring the piston down, go slowly and stop as soon as you see that O-ring move or rise just a little bit, right there. The best part about the Wonderbar tools that we've just built is you're not going to be using piston pressure to fix chips or piston pressure to shoot the resin in. The structure is going to be determining the flex on the glass and the pressure on the resin. Most tools, the structure sits there, and then you go up and down with the pressure, with the piston, to control the pressure of the resin. That's not the case here. If you want to increase the pressure on the resin, rather than doing the piston, you just turn that, and then you turn this. That increases the flex on the glass, which opens it up. Just like when you press down on a star leg, you open up the leg and then you watch the resin shoot forward. Well, this tool is doing the same thing. Now you can see the resin starting to go down the crack. Now what we do is that we do a second vacuum. And the purpose of the second vacuum is for wicking the resin. There is a very minuscule amount of air in a stone break or a drill hole, and it gets sucked out in a matter of seconds. The purpose of vacuum is for interaction, meaning you're moving the resin within the brake, which causes interaction with it bonding to the glass, and then the wicking is getting the resin into all the microscopic crevices and craters inside that brake. Okay, so now we're done with our second vacuum, and we're going to come back down to pressure. Remember, as soon as you feel pressure on that O-ring, you stop. And this is where you wait, and then you watch the resin start to flow, and you play with your bolt on your crack opener. You turn this bolt until you see the resin, the cracks start to open up, and the resin start to flow clearly. Now, the second one back here, you can use a lot more pressure because you're not as close to the point to open it up. Okay, so now while we're waiting for the 400 to go down the crack, we're going to put our edge crack resin in. Now, putting your edge crack resin in, which would be 1600 or 2400. 1600 is used when the impact point is the size of a pinhead, which it is most of the time. When it is a star brake at the edge area or a bullseye combination brake, then you use 2400, and this is in the manual and other videos, because you need to separate that brake and seal it off. And then when you're done and have cured everything, you're going to go back and drill through the cured resin on the impact and repair it just like you would a stone brake. Okay, so now I'm going to inject the edge crack resin into the edge. We have syringes to do this with, pressure syringes, and we have an injector. You can use an injector to slide it also. You want to go about 4 inches at least. So let me set this up so you can see it. Use 2 hands to stabilize it. Now normally you have a really wide gap at the edge, so this is going to go in very easily. And as soon as it slows down, then stop. You don't need to push it. Okay, now you see we've injected at least a good 4 inches there. This was on a windshield. And put your cap back on. These are UV protective, and these are UV protective. So as long as you get that cap right back on there, you're not going to cure your resin in the sun. Now we go back to the point, and you'll see we've gone down about a ½ inch or so. So now it's time to start sliding down the crack. So what you have to do is now lower this pressure bolt off the glass, because you want these two things to stabilize and not tilt the injector. And you can lower that a little bit so you're level with the stabilizing bolts in the back. And now we're going to start to slide down the crack. I mean, you just use very little pressure. And you can see the resin is flowing very easily. You always keep the resin in front of your injector. And this is called meet in the middle. You're going to slide to where the edge crack resin stopped. We're almost there. And we are done. Now you want to slide this off the crack so you don't spill resin. Pull a vacuum on there. Take your screwdriver, slide it under the cup, and turn it upside down so you don't lose your resin. Then you wipe your threads with a towel, and you put your cap on. And then you set it upside down in your toolbox, and you're ready for your next repair. Okay, so now you can see this crack is perfectly injected, and it's ready to be tabbed and cured. So always remove the crack opener bolts before you cure. The reason is you want the windshield back into its neutral position. It's a good habit to get into, to not only loosen those bolts, but to take them off. If you left them on there and cured it, when you release the pressure, you will squeeze the resin that's in the crack, and it will refract. It is still bonded, but it will refract, and it won't look good for the customer. Now the best resin to tab this crack with is 2400. 2400 won't drip down the windshield. It's thick. So you go to the drill hole and you put a bead of resin on top of the crack. And you can use these Mylar film tabs on there. You can roll them on like that, or you can use the invisible whitish looking Scotch tape, which is of the same material. The advantages of using this tape is you can scrape it off and throw it away. Whereas with the film tabs, you save them. And you got to roll this on so you don't get a bubble. Okay, now what you're doing is removing the oxygen from the resin. It cures by UV and lack of oxygen. Now when you're out there on a windshield, any of your tools can be used as a UV light holder. Any of your Wonderbar tools. And then of course we have a universal UV light holder. So we're horizontal here, so I'm going to hold it. You normally want to cure your crack for at least 2 minutes. The best way to cure, number one, is sunlight. Why sunlight? Because sunlight, the intensity is perfectly even. So it's going to be a slow cure. A slow cure is much better than a fast cure. If you cure this in 10-15 seconds with strong LED lights, you're going to have broken chain links in your structure, and it is not going to be able to withstand cold temperatures and hot temperatures and thermal resistance. And this is the third most important safety device in the vehicle. It's only going to take you an extra 3 minutes to cure this right. You know, you do a perfect repair and then you want to hurry up and cure it, and doing that can ruin your repair. So the second best method of curing is a fluorescent light, because again, the intensity is the same throughout the bulb. And this will slow cure it. A slow cure is 2 to 3 minutes. So once we do this for 2 or 3 minutes, then we are going to peel it off, and we're done. To test to see if you're cured, you want to see if this comes off smoothly. Like it is. It doesn't seem wet. Okay. shirt. Okay, there we go. That's about an 8-inch crack. Then you want to clean it up. Remember, I use spray away on the inside of the glass because it's very difficult. You get a lot of smearing if you try to clean the inside of the glass. Then you want to wipe the Vaseline petroleum jelly with a dry cloth before you spray it with glass cleaner, because then it'll prevent it from smearing. And then wash the windshield. And there you have it. That's how easy it is to fix a hitch crack with the Ultra Bond Wonderbar Tools. Stronger than a new windshield. These are unbreakable repairs. What do we mean by unbreakable? This means in an impact or penetration test where they drop steel balls from 12 feet and from 30 feet, the glass breaks, but the repairer does not. We've had this in a rollover crash, and the repaired crack remained intact. And that's it for today. So this is how you practice crack repair at home. Over 90% of our new users are able to learn using this. This is a 3-foot by 4-foot piece of laminated glass. You can buy them from a glass distributor for about $40, or you can get them from a glass shop for about $80. Thank you, and that's it for today.